Metrorail has condemned yet another arson attack on its Cape Town trains. Police are probing the torching of 11 train carriages, which affected 2 platforms. For more, we're joined by eNCA's Pheladi Sethusa. She's live for us in Cape Town for the very latest there. Pheladi, I can see one of the entrances for Cape Town Station behind you. It's been a very dramatic day or so there. But it seems like people are going back to business as usual there. What is the situation?
Morning, Marcel. So yes, as you mentioned, business as usual here at the train station. We're not allowed to shoot inside the train station or on the actual platform where the fires happened, but they did allow us to walk through a bit earlier. And what we saw this morning is that those carriages rather, have been moved off, presumably to the Metrorail parking lot in Salt River for further investigations by Metrorail officials and technicians. Now, from what we know, this train, when it pulled into the station rather yesterday, they saw smoke and then a fire was detected, and luckily because it was already here, emergency services came quite quickly to put that fire out. No one was injured in this incident, but what's concerning here, Marcel, is this is the 4th such incident in about 3 months. So like I said, in this incident no one was injured, but we've had 1 death already and some fatalities in other incidents. And one of the incidents, Lee Jansen, who suffered severe 3rd-degree burns and lung damage, is now apparently pursuing legal action against Metrorail. Even though her incident was a confirmed arson attack on a moving train, she says it's Metrorail's responsibility to keep their carriages safe and to keep their assets safe, and as well as passengers safe. So we don't know where that process is at the moment, but clearly Metrorail does have quite an issue with these attacks.
Now, as you've said, they're investigating at least 1 arson attack. With this latest incident, Metrorail has said they will be investigating the incident. But what are you hearing on the ground there? What could be the reason behind these attacks, if you don't want to call them officially arson attacks? And is it directed at Metrorail?
So that's the thing. With this incident, we're not quite sure yet, especially because the fire only happened as the train was pulling in, was rather detected as the train was pulling in. So it could be a technical fault or an attack. But as I was saying, the last few incidents we've had were very clearly arson attacks on trains that were moving and something was thrown onto the train. So we know that vandalism on train sets here in Cape Town is quite a huge problem. And unfortunately, it will have a knock-on effect on operations here. We know that trains are already always delayed and there aren't enough trains on the tracks as is. So this will take off those 11 carriages, and people will probably suffer tomorrow morning waiting in longer queues or longer travelling times.
Now, this can't be good news for the many Cape Townians who depend on trains to get around, because we know the geographic setup of Cape Town specifically. People do depend on trains to get to far-flung places. Metrorail must be fearing that this will have an impact on how many people use their trains, but also the knock-on effect for other public transport systems would also be huge.
That's the thing, Marcel. Unfortunately, commuters get caught in a catch-22 because people who do use the train are often some of the poorest people in Cape Town, and who put away quite a bit of money to buy that monthly pass. So they don't actually have an option of, oh, okay, there's a problem today, I'm going to use a taxi or I'm going to use a bus. So one of the commuters who had actually asked me earlier why we're here said they actually just have to sit and wait because they don't have another option, and they don't think that Metrorail is acting fast enough to get new trains on their tracks. But we've spoken to Metrorail in the past, and they've told us that they can only put new trains on their lines next year. And from a logistical point of view, they only have between 50 and 52 train sets that are operating on a schedule designed for 84 sets. So there's quite a lot of train sets that have been decommissioned, vandalized, or put out of service because of things like these arson attacks. So it's going to be quite a nightmare in the coming few days for those people affected on this central line.
Are you getting a sense that people are fearful even though they know they've got no other choice?
Definitely, Marcel. Like I was saying with that Lee Jansen case, she was trapped in a moving carriage that was, attacked. That was involved in an arson attack, rather, and she had to jump from a moving train to save her life. So when she was found, she was unconscious and, as I said, suffered those really severe third-degree burns. But that's the only recourse she had in that moment on this moving train. Other people had managed to jump to other carriages, but she was sort of stuck in a corner and had to make do. There was no official there to help her. There was no other way for her to get off and out of that situation. So people do fear for their lives on the train. They have to contend with theft on the train. People are often held up and their things taken away from them on the way to work or from work. So it's really a perilous situation.
Now, we've been carrying a story where Minister of Police, Pheladi, has been asked to intervene and have a look at what could be happening there. Have we heard from local authorities, the city of Cape Town? This speaks to the safety of a very important infrastructure for a city like Cape Town.
Definitely. Unfortunately, where national and the province are, they're still at loggerheads. We know that the city has said they wouldn't mind taking over management of Metrorail and say they have some sort of plan to turn around the way PRASA has handled the running of Metrorail in the city. But we've heard from the national department that's something that's actually just not possible. It is a national competency and they have to oversee this process. Pheladi, I was with him when he did a ride along on these trains to see how things work, what the delays are, and he was also quite aghast at how things work on the train. I mean, the carriage he was in was supposed to be sort of VIP protected and no one else was meant to get on, but people were jumping in from the windows just to get on the train because they can't afford to miss this one and wait another hour for the next one. So that train ride was quite enlightening for him, and he had said that they'll work on perhaps bringing back the railway police so that they can have a presence on the trains, but we haven't seen that implemented as yet.
Well, we'll leave it there for now. eNCA reporter Pheladi Sethusa, as usual, covering all angles on a very important story, and I'm sure she'll bring us the very